You may have been hearing about a certain controversy with Destiny recently about perk waiting, dungeon farming, random rolls, all that kind of stuff. Today, I just want to explain the events that have unfolded over the past week or so that you kind of know, what's going on. This all started with Vesper's Host, the new dungeon, specifically the first encounter. The VS Chill Inhibitor Stasis Grenade Launcher drops from this encounter, and this first encounter is very easy to farm. So people started farming for this grenade launcher, looking for a roll of Envious Arsenal and Bait and Switch, which is a very good roll of the weapon, arguably the best weapon roll that you can get, if not top 3. You've probably seen things like Cascade Bait or Envious Explosive Light, or maybe you are one of the very lucky few who have seen this grenade launcher drop with that perk combination. Either way, people were getting really annoyed that this perk combination just did not seem to be dropping at all, using websites like light.gg to try to prove their point. The reason they use light.gg is because light.gg posts the top 8 most common rolls that people have in their inventory under a certain set of rules to try to build a cheat sheet, a quick look at what kind of weapon rolls people are keeping in their inventory to guide those as to what they should be looking for. And mysteriously missing from this top 8 is a roll of Envious Arsenal and Bait and Switch. Does that mean that people think this perk combination is not worth keeping? Well, in most circumstances, yes. Most other weapons, I'd say the overwhelming majority of them, tend to be very accurate in terms of what the best rolls of a weapon are and what people are actually keeping. And it is almost unheard of to have one of the best perk combinations not even be in the top 8. So for something like this to happen means that this grenade launcher with this combination is either very bad, which it isn't, or incredibly rare, which it seems to be. Why would this perk combination be so rare? Well, people initially confronted Bungie and said that they were weighing the perk pool on this weapon in a way that this perk combination would be insanely rare, which Bungie hasn't really ever done, nor have they ever spoken about it. So Bungie came out and said that they do not intentionally weigh the perk drop rates on weapons at all. This is just not something that they do, and I see very little reason for Bungie to lie about something such as that. Attunement, like on exotic class items, is a bit of a different system. So, what is going on? Well, people dug in a bit deeper and have found the following. It appears, potentially dating back several seasons, although right now it seems like the current theory is that it started with Final Shape, is that Bungie's supposed random perk rolls may not be so random after all, although it's maybe not that the perks are weighted, but rather that the formula that Bungie uses to seed the RNG to determine perk combinations is flawed. It is possible that the code was written in a way that seemingly generates a random seed, but actually results in something different, like what we're seeing now. In the API, perks are listed in a pretty specific order, and websites like d2foundry.gg use this information to make their charts of weapons. The perks aren't just there in whatever order that D2Foundry felt like putting them in, they're pulled in that order from the API. And what people started to find was that the further away, for lack of a better term, the further away perks were from each other in the grid, the less often they would roll together. Mossy Max, who does a lot of spreadsheet type work for the game, number crunching, posted this image of Truth Teller, which is a Void Special Ammo GL that re-released recently with no consensus god roll. It's a pretty meh weapon, so in reality, there shouldn't be any sort of specific trend line at all. And yet there is a very distinct pattern in what perk combinations are showing up in people's inventories and which are not. If there is no perk weighting, then there's no reason for Stats for All and DZ, aka Danger Zone, should be so much more common than Stats for All and CA or Collective Action. And yet it is, especially since Stats for All and Collective Action, in my opinion, is a better combination. And if we look on D2 Foundry, you'll see that Stats for All and Danger Zone are right next to each other, aka a perk distance of 0. Threat Detector is 1 perk distance away, slightly less common. Harmony is 2, less common again. And Collective Action is 3 away, incredibly uncommon. And then Disruption Break is 2 away because it wraps around. It's not technically 4 away. And then Repulsor Brace is 1 away, more common. And in fact, there are more copies of it than with Danger Zone because Repulsor is a more desirable perk, so people probably want to keep it. But also 0 and 1 distance away is relatively the same. And I don't mean to single out Mossy Max as like the sole person to discover this. They're just one of the first people to post that I actually saw. There are a ton of others who are making spreadsheets and charts and extra reading material and all that kind of stuff, and I'm going to put them all in the description of this video. Light.gg now has a tool to look at all perk combinations across all weapons instead of just the top 8. And as you scroll, at least for recent seasons, you're going to keep seeing this checkerboard pattern and this gradient pattern. Ancient Gospel does have an outlier in Repulsor Brace and Explosive Payload, which is 3 apart, but it's craftable. So if we ignore that, the pattern still kind of holds the same. And again, in just continuing to scroll, we keep seeing this pattern over and over and over again. Maybe not on every single item in the game, but certainly a lot. And the main reason this probably hasn't been discovered for this long is for multiple potential reasons. Number 1 is crafting. We've only had crafting for a couple of years, but crafting eliminates the RNG factor completely for getting weapon rolls, and the community has only been getting smarter and smarter since we've had weapon crafting with new tools to use at their disposal. This kind of analysis simply wasn't happening way back when, at least to the scale that it is today, if this has been a problem since a very long time ago. And number 2 and 3 are ease of farming and no double perks. This is a god roll weapon from an encounter that's very easy to do and very quick to do, which is relatively uncommon. Think of previous god rolls that people have wanted recently. Cold Comfort is from the first and final encounter in Ghost of the Deep, which for the average player is a bit more monotonous, but it has a perk distance of 0, so it's actually pretty common. So someone should tell my account that. Cataphract is from Trials, but I'm pretty sure Saint sold an Envious and Bait and Switch roll at some point, or not sold it, but it was in the rep track, although it did have a distance of 3. Before that, maybe Wendigo from GMs, also not the easiest thing to go grind for the average player, but also had easier perk roll chances if this whole theory is true. Otherwise, it's been mostly crafted weapons, or maybe some Brave Arsenal weapons, which were just dropping all the time, and had double perks, which I'll talk about in a second. Last season, Iron Banner's Multi-Mock had Attrition Orbs and Kinetic Tremors, another role that people were hunting, with no double perks, and not craftable. The perk distance on this, also 3. Multi-perk weapons seem to have dodged this issue, or at least it's much harder to track down on multi-perk weapons. So for 2 seasons in a row, we've had 2 weapons with perks that are a distance of 3 apart, that are not craftable, that have no double perk opportunities, that aren't that bad to farm. And, you know, Iron Banner, I get it, all right. This is what got people to notice and start digging. Very recently, the day that I'm writing this script, maybe even the day that I released this video, Bungie has posted again and said that they have confirmed that there is no intentional perk weighting on weapons, but are now investigating potential issues in their code for how RNG perks are generated on weapons, and thanked all of the people collecting this data, including Light.gg, who basically made this tool overnight as a way to source a lot of this data. Random in computers isn't ever truly random. If you work with computers or coding, you probably know that. It's important to note that this is not a players versus Bungie situation. This is a players and Bungie versus the problem situation. I have very little reason to believe that Bungie would intentionally have this be the system for what feels like no reason at all, and then intentionally hide it from us, but then also give smart people the tools to then figure it out. If things always felt like this situation, then maybe, but I just don't feel like it has. Again, I gotta say it every time, devs are, most of the time anyway, not intentionally trying to be malicious to people. You know, most of them anyway. Bungie doesn't appear to have been combative about this information. They've been replying pretty quickly as new information unfolds, and are now looking into the potential problem, which at this point, it seems pretty likely that there is some kind of a problem here that's just gone unnoticed until now. Whatever the final result is, I hope we get a nice developer insight article on why this situation might have happened. Even as someone who knows absolutely nothing about coding or engineering, it's always an interesting read, especially when people smarter than me can translate dev speak into English for the rest of us. How much time do I think people have maybe collectively wasted grinding uncommon perk combinations unknowingly? Well, I think that's a tough question to answer, especially because you got to think of all the god rolls that were made potentially easier to chase down as a result of this system as well. I'm guessing the two probably average out, although someone could do a more mathematical breakdown of weapons from the history of the game, odds of getting the drop back then according to this system, the duration of the encounter, then rerun the tests, but with the true odds instead. That's a project for someone who can write a Python script to run that back, or whatever programming language you would use. If you would like some additional reading, I've included another link in the description to a paper written by Newo on this ongoing issue. I don't have much of an opinion on this situation other than what I said earlier. I don't think this was malicious at all. I don't think this was intentional. I think it was just a problem that happened to go unnoticed until very recently. Bungie seems to be taking the issue pretty seriously, and hopefully they'll have some kind of resolution to the problem very soon. I will update the description whenever Bungie updates us again on whatever the heck is going on here. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.